Oscar Piastri has suddenly become the focus of a big rumour, a possible switch to Ferrari for 2027. The story has blown up after a tense situation inside McLaren and questions about who will drive for Ferrari after 2026. The first spark came from the Swiss outlet Blick, which claimed Piastri is aiming for a Ferrari seat in 2027. The timing is no accident. Right after Singapore, where Piastri's anger over how things were handled with teammate Lando Norris was clear on the radio and on the pit wall, that raw frustration has only increased talk that the Australian might be thinking about his next move. Any change would not happen before 2027. Piastri signed a fresh McLaren deal in March 2025 that is believed to run until 2028, though the exact wording of the end date has never been made public, so a quick exit seems unlikely. But F1 history shows that superstar drivers can sometimes buy their way out early if they and a new team are willing to pay big money and take a legal gamble. That's why people are looking at the end of 2026 as the first real opening. Ferrari's situation makes the idea even louder. Both Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc have contracts that finish at the end of 2026, which could leave 1 or even 2 seats free at Maranello for the 2027 season. Hamilton's first year in red has been messy and has raised questions about how long he will want to stay. His low point came at the Spanish Grand Prix, where he spiraled on the radio, called himself useless, and even said Ferrari could fire him from his $60 million per year deal. He later said he would keep pushing with the team, but the doubts have not fully gone away. If Ferrari resets its lineup after 2026, a talent like Piastri will be on their list. The talk of Piastri leaving McLaren is not only about Ferrari's openings. There are real issues inside McLaren that many fans have noticed. Even while Piastri leads the championship by 22 points over Norris, he has seemed upset with how the team is managing the fight between its two drivers. McLaren introduced so-called papaya rules to keep the racing clean and fair, but in practice these rules have made things messy. In Hungary, Piastri was told to let Norris through. Similar calls came in Italy. Then in Singapore, when Norris bumped Piastri at turn 1, McLaren chose not to do anything about it. That inconsistency is exactly what Piastri and his camp find hard to accept. His radio comment after the Singapore clash, saying it didn't feel very team-friendly, showed how much it bothered him. There is also a wider feeling among some fans that a British team may naturally rally around its British star, especially one as marketable as Norris. While this is not something McLaren admits, the perception matters. Piastri's manager, Mark Webber, is very sensitive to this. He lived through similar politics at Red Bull, where he was often seen as the number 2 behind Sebastian Vettel. Webber knows the early warning signs of favouritism and has been pushing McLaren to handle things fairly. His involvement makes the Ferrari rumour more believable because he has a track record of making bold calls to protect his driver. Ferrari is not the only option being discussed though. Former driver Ralf Schumacher has suggested that if Piastri leaves, Red Bull or Aston Martin might actually be more likely than Ferrari. He says there have already been conversations between Webber and Red Bull. Christian Horner tried to sign Piastri before the Australian chose to extend with McLaren, and if Max Verstappen were to move on one day, Piastri would be a strong replacement. Aston Martin is another interesting path. Fernando Alonso has repeatedly hinted that 2026 could be his final season in Formula One. If he retires, Aston will want a top-level driver. With the team investing heavily in facilities and staff, and the 2026 rules possibly shaking up the order, they might be very attractive by 2027. Those 2026 rule changes sit at the centre of all of this. The new chassis and power unit rules could completely shuffle who is fast and who is not. Ferrari might nail the regulations and become the team to beat, or they might miss. McLaren could stay at the front or slip back down the grid. That uncertainty makes the timing of any move incredibly important. Many top contracts include performance clauses that allow a driver to look elsewhere if the team falls below a certain level. If McLaren drops after 2026, Piastri may have a way to exit early. If Ferrari struggles with the new rules, their charm might fade just as quickly. Ferrari's pull is obvious. They are the most famous team in F1, and wearing the red suit is a lifelong dream for many drivers. Team boss Fred Vasseur has said Ferrari does not rank their drivers and tries to give them equal treatment. For a driver who feels fairness is an issue at his current team, that message sounds very tempting. But Ferrari's other side cannot be ignored. The politics are intense, the pressure from the Italian media is constant, and the team's history includes many cases of talented drivers getting chewed up by the environment. Hamilton's current problems show that even a legend can struggle there if the car and the structure are not right. Still, the hard reality is that Piastri is under contract at McLaren through 2028. While the rumour has heat, thanks to visible tension, the calendar of contracts and Webber's presence, there is a big difference between people talking and someone actually signing a deal. A lot can change in 2 years. How the 2025 title fight ends will matter a great deal. If Piastri wins the championship, his leverage becomes huge. Champions can push for better terms or negotiate exits that would be impossible for others. If he loses the title and feels the team's choices cost him points, the urge to leave could grow. McLaren boss Andrea Stella admits that managing 2 title contenders in the same garage is complicated, but he says the team can handle it. Piastri too has said in public that he believes in McLaren's project. Still, people in F1 know that what is said on camera is not always the full story. Relationships can be smooth in the press and rough behind closed doors. These differences often appear on the radio or in how strategy calls are split between teammates. The spotlight on this story will only get brighter as the season goes on. Every touch between Piastri and Norris, every strategy decision, and every pit stop will be judged for signs of bias. Every radio message will be dissected online within minutes. That pressure can force a team to either fix the problem or watch it grow until it explodes. McLaren will be tested on how consistent they are with their own rules and how they protect both drivers in the title chase. Top drivers fighting for a championship are always linked to big teams with question marks in their lineups. That's normal in F1, but this case feels different because the tension is not imaginary. It's visible on the track and over the radio. The next 6 races of 2025 could decide the mood in the camp. If McLaren can keep things fair and Piastri becomes world champion, he could decide to commit to them long term. But if he keeps feeling second best and a team like Ferrari, Red Bull or Aston arrives with a strong plan and a serious offer, we might see one of the biggest transfers in years lining up for 2027. What makes this so compelling is the contrast. Piastri is leading the title race in what many think is the best car, yet people believe he might already be scanning for the exit. That says a lot about modern F1. Speed matters, but so do trust, equal treatment, and clear rules between teammates. Webber's past experience gives him a sharp eye for when the balance starts tilting the wrong way, and he will not want Piastri to repeat the frustrations he went through. The broader driver market for 2027 also depends on the 2026 reset. Once the new rules arrive, we will quickly see which projects are working and which are not. By 2027, the picture should be clear enough that a driver like Piastri can make a confident choice. For Ferrari, bringing in Piastri would signal a return to betting on a rising star rather than relying on a proven champion to fix things immediately. Hamilton's move was meant to deliver fast results, but his early difficulties show that even the greatest can't overcome deep team problems overnight. A young champion in the making might be the kind of long-term bet Ferrari needs. In the end, we will soon find out if this story has real legs or if it's just the usual noise that surrounds any driver having a breakout season. What is certain is that Oscar Piastri's next step is now one of the biggest subplots in Formula One. The decisions made by McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull and Aston Martin over the next 2 years, together with the impact of the 2026 rules, could reshape the grid. If Piastri does move in 2027, it would not just be a transfer, it would be a sign of how the sport's power balance has shifted in the new era. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. See you in the next video.